Nandasya चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोविष्टं स्थापितमेन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामि ददाति स्वभ्रान्तं वन्देऽहं गुरो श्रीरूपं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सर्वनाममातं तं तांसस्यं साधयितं सावधूतं परिचयसेवितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सर्वनामललिता श्रीविशाखातं श्रीकृष्ण करुणासिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त काञ्चनगौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभं सूर्ये प्रणमामि हरिप्रियवाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैरच भक्तानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण. Welcome to this discussion on Bhagavad Gita. We are discussing chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 4 is the title is Transcendental Knowledge, and we are in the fourth section of it, which is achieving jnana through sacrifices. So this section typically calls for different sacrifices. Let us go here. So between 4.25 to 4.29, different type of yajna are discussed. So in this shloka 4.25, A and B, there are two major things that are discussed, which is worship of devatas, the karma karma yoga, and offering atma to Brahma, which is jnana yoga. Literally, yoga yajna means sacrifice, just Nishkama Karma Yoga, which was discussed by Krishna in the previous section. Now this is talking about different other types of yajnas. So this shloka 4.25 A.B. talk about worship of devtas, which is Sakama Karma Yoga, with the desire to worship devtas, and then offering Atma to Brahma, which is Jnana Yoga, which is 4.25 C.B. Let us go to the shloka. दैवमेवापरे यज्ञं योगिनां परिभासते ब्रह्मात्मा आपरे यज्ञं यज्ञेन उपजाति. So this Brahma, that is absolute truth. So what you sacrifice for the fire of Supreme Brahman. So the idea is that worship of Vedas, this people do to acknowledge that there is a higher reality. So Prabhupada is actually calling them as Bahu Ishvaravadi. They are called as Bahu Ishvaravadi. Those who are interested in material benefits worship the demigods by various sacrifices according to Vedic rituals. They are called as Bahu Ishvaravadi. Then offering Atma to Brahman, that is Jnana Yoga, which is 4.25 CND. Brahmana Apare Yajna Yajneva Upajarati. So Brahma after the truth, after the Yajna sacrifice, Yajneva by sacrifice, such Upajarati. So they offer themselves in Atma into Brahma. So they offer to meet themselves with spiritual. So these people are called as Brahmavadi. One is Mahuvishwaravadi, other one is Brahmavadi. Because there are different sacrifices possible. Krishna is telling us that in various activities performed, the fold of Vedas, performed in fold of Vedas, different types of Vedas are possible. So Krishna will explain to Arjuna the purpose of each of these yajna, and finally he will tell what he has to do. So in the purpose we see, but others who worship the impersonal feature of absolute truth and regard the forms of demigods as temporary, sacrifice the individual selves in supreme fire and thus end the individual existence by merging into the existence of supreme. So this is Brahmavadis. So there is this Bahu Ishvaravadi is a kind of polytheism. This belief is this belief in many gods. There is one more kind of theism called as pantheism. This talks about everything is God. Theism is belief in God who manifests in different forms. This is by itself is a large topic to discuss. The Bhagavad is that we talk about is polytheism. So there is an unsolvable logic problem. How can someone believe in many systems? When we generally say God, it should refer to only one person. How can someone believe in many suppliants? When we generally say God, so one logic we can bring is that there is one God, but he has many departments, and hence he requires many assistants who are like his representatives and are called as gods, who are different head of the departments. It boils down to the point that there is one supreme head who is God, who has cabinet of ministers serving different departments in the universal government. This becomes the correct understanding. So the now question is, in Vedic religion, polytheistic or monotheistic? Polytheistic means many gods. Monotheistic means only one God. Actually, Vedic religion is monotheistic, but at multi-level. In Abrahamic religion, there is the concept of true God and false God. False gods are not gods. They are creation from the imagination of a human being. Thus, whenever they conquered Abrahamic religion people, that is Islamic and Christian, people, whenever they conquer a tract of land, they will destroy the places or forms of worship because they consider anything other than their religion or anything other than their God as false God. They would say false God should be rejected so the true God can be established. The Vedic understanding is a little bit different in the sense that they are not false God but subordinate gods. They are subordinate to the supreme God. So this is multi-level monotheistic idea. So now, so here, for the impersonal is the fire altar of sacrifice is human and offering is the self being consumed with fire of Brahma. The Krishna conscious person, like Arjuna, our sacrifices everything for satisfaction of Krishna, and thus all his material portion as well as his own self, everything is sacrificed for Krishna. Thus he is first class devotee, but he does not lose his individual existence. So Prabhupada wants to bring here the important point, the difference between surrendering to Brahman and surrendering to Krishna. We do not have to lose our individuality when we surrender directly to Krishna. That is the point. Now let us go to sloka number 26. Shrotayani indriyani anye samaya samyamya agnishu jyoti shabdadi vishayan anya indriya agnishu jyoti. So in other verses, we have used apare. You see, 4.25, 4.25. Here, apare. Apare means some others, which is same as anye. Anye also. So here, PG to 4.26, there is the interesting thing which Krishna is talking. Let us go here. So there are two things which is discussed here. One is about Naistiki brahmacharis and other one is Grihastha brahmacharis. So Naistiki brahmacharis are dealt in 4.26 AD. Grihastha brahmacharis are dealt in 4.26 CD. So what is the shloka tell? Some unadulterated brahmacharis sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of senses in the fire of senses. So, what does this mean? So, 4.26 AB talks about using ears for the process of hearing to control the mind. Now, let us go to the presentation here. So, we have uh, 4.26. We have to understand it in this way. So, there is mind, and mind is surrounded by senses. Here, eyes, nose, tongue, and skin, five senses. And there are five sensations: ear for sound, eyes for sight, skin for touch, tongue for taste, nose for smell. And the sound, we hear sound through ears. We see sight through eyes. We smell fragrance, that's the smell or fragrance through nose. We taste sweet taste through taste buds in the tongue. And we feel touch through our skin. So these are all important actions. So now what is the sense of it? We use ears to hear the sound, and music is a sense object. So we use ear to hear music. We use eyes to see picture. We use nose to smell fragrance. We use tongue to taste food. We use skin to feel gestures. So so these are the sense objects. Now coming to the Naistiki brahmacharis, let us zoom this and understand. So in Naistiki brahmacharis, the mind is there. Mind, we need to control it. And how we control? We control the sense, when by engaging senses in Krishna's service, by engaging senses in Krishna's service. So how do we do that? We hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We see deities. We smell, or the Naistiki brahmacharis smell awkward flowers. Naistiki brahmacharis taste prasada. Naistiki brahmachari serves the lotus feet of devotees. That way he uses this sense of touch. So there is no any other sense object which can pull the mind out. So there is no engagement of senses in a sense object which is uh, which could take the sense away from Krishna. So therefore, this is the mind control. We control the mind through senses, engaging it in Krishna service. So this is what Nastiki Brahmacharis does. Now, in Grihastha Brahmacharis, they control the engagement of the senses because there is sense of sex pleasure of getting Krishna conscious children. So they select specific sense objects. They go and collect donation. They go and collect money for Krishna service. So it's a controlled engagement. So brahmacharis may engage only in specific actions. Grihastha brahmacharis may engage only in specific sense objects. Now let us go to the shloka. So 4.26a and B, which is some unadulterated brahmacharis sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control. So this talks about using the ears for process of hearing to control the mind. So here it means engaging the sense organ in service of Krishna and hence control the mind. The hearing process and the senses can be used for sense gratification. Thus, the act of hearing gives pleasure. Thus, the hearing is an act. The fruit of that is the sense pleasure. But we use this hearing process for understanding Krishna, and hence it's an act of service to Krishna. Okay, so the result is true pleasure because by connecting to Krishna, we become spiritually happy. So that is the point. Essentially, the idea of sacrifice is the principle of yajna is to use all paraphernalia in service of Krishna and derive pleasure only from doing that which pleases Krishna. In this specific case, we restrain our hearing process, we restrain our engage the senses only in service of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada actually is telling that unadulterated brahmacharis, they do this. They engage the senses only in service of Krishna. They turn they turn the senses inwards. This is one level of yajna. Picking the sense and offering it in fire of mind control because we are so mind control is the fire of sacrifice. So 4.26 AB talks about restraining the senses by mind control. So these are Naistiki brahmacharis. Now 4.26 ED, there it talks about Grihastha brahmacharis remaining indifferent to the action of senses. Here, if you go to the shloka, Shabdadin Vishayan Anya Indriyagnisha Jo. So, what does this mean? Remaining indifferent to the action of the senses. So here the word that is used is sabdani. Sabdani means sound vibration. Sound vibration is a sense object. And this is analogous. So this is a sense of this is analogous to Shotra Adini Indriyani Ado, which means hearing process. This is act of engaging sense object in a particular activity which is hearing. In Grihastha life, there is contact, constant interaction of sense and sense object. This contact is not uncontrolled. This contact is controlled. This contact is made in sense of sacrifice. Sense objects Sense objects are offered in senses. So these are all sense objects. In this, typically we talk about the interaction with the opposite sex. When this is done within the presence of Dharma, it is sacrificed in a regulated way. What sacrifice is involved here? The regulation is the sacrifice. Regulation of the senses is the sacrifice. Senses could be engaged in sense objects in an irregulated way or in an unregulated way. When it is in regulation, it is sacrifice. This regulation purifies the person, it purifies the person and hence helps him to go towards Krishna. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about the brahmachari. A brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness. Hearing is the basic principle for understanding, and therefore the pure brahmachari engages fully in Hare Namana Kirtan, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrains himself from the vibrations of material sound, and his hearing is engaged in transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Similarly, the householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such acts with great restraint. So, the engagement of the senses is very controlled. So, engagement of the mind is very much controlled because senses are engaged only in Krishna service. Yes, senses are engaged in controlled engagement of the sense objects. So, this controlled engagement is the sacrifice. So, that is how we understand this. Let us go to Shloka number 4.27. So 4.27 there is mainly talking about restraining of senses and prana. Sarva indriyai karmani prana karmani chapare atma samyamya yognagno jwagati jnana dipite. Sarvani of all indriya, the senses, karmani, functions, prana karmani, functions of the life breath, chap also, apare, others, atma samyamya, of controlling the mind, yoga, the linking process, agna in the fire of jyoti of jnana dipite, because of urge for self-realization. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations in the fire of controlling mind. So this shloka talks about senses and pranas. This is Jnana Yoga. Now let us go to the PowerPoint slide. So mind is there, and there is sense, there is sensation, action, and sense object. Now what happens is when mind is highly agitated because of engagement of the senses. For example, we ate too much, or there is a strong fragrance, or we are seeing in through our eyes something very beautiful, and we are somebody shouting in our ears and make us get angry, and we have a feeling to enjoy the genitals of the opposite sex. So when this happens, the mind gets agitated. Mind gets agitated. So one of the common things that we see in nowadays so-called yoga classes is that they teach the breathing phenomenon. They teach breathing exercise. So when we breathe, whatever tension or stress we have got from the senses, they get calmed down. The mind calms down. The mind calms down. Therefore, the pranayama, which is the regulation of the pranas are nothing but the life air in the body of jiva. So, by regulating the air movement, it is possible to control the mind. So we offer prana and senses, that is, and the senses by controlled by process of pranayama, which is acting as a sacrifice, and hence we control the mind. So during the practice of jnana yoga, there is a specific sadhana of Ashtanga yoga. So that specific sadhana is called as pranayama. There is the focus is mainly in any jnana yoga. The main focus is turning the consciousness inwards. Jnana yogis may also use the sadhana of bhakti yoga. They may think that impersonal Brahman is a temporary manifestation of the absolute truth. This, they may be successful in turning the consciousness inwards. Some focus on simply process of speculation to focus their mind and use the breathing process to control the prana and senses and control the mind. So they use this formula of naiti to bring focus inwards. This is not me, this is not me, this is not me, like that they will tell, and they will try to focus on inwards. So in Vedic philosophy, process of speculation, often expressed as naiti or not this, involves the process of identifying what something is not to arrive at the deeper understanding of its true nature. So this approach is used to progressively eliminate less accurate or inadequate descriptions of reality, ultimately leading towards the more profound comprehension of the absolute truth. So coming back to the Ashtanga Yoga, there are 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. So they are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharma, Dhyana, and Samadhi. In Pratyahara stage, one cuts off all the senses. In Pranayama stage, yogi regulates the prana. This breathing procedure helps to turn the consciousness inwards. Atma Samyamya Yoga. That is what Krishna is telling. Atma Samyamya Yoga Jwavati Jnana Dipite. These yogis are self-controlled. So there is a very beautiful word used here, which is Jnana Dipite. Jnana Dipite means it means urge for self-realization. Jnana means intelligence, knowledge, and Dipite means illumination or light. So these yogis are illuminated by knowledge, hence they know that. External world is not the right place to focus, and hence they desired to turn the entire consciousness inwards. The Srila Prabhupada is using two words in this purport. One is Pratyag Atma and Paragatma. So as long as the soul is attached to senses and enjoyment, it is called as Paragatma. And but as soon as the soul becomes detached from the sense environment, it is Pratyaga Atma. Raga means attachment, Tyaga means detachment. So one soul is attached to the sense enjoyment, and the other soul is attached to, is detached from the sense enjoyment. So this entire purport is very interesting because read this. The yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to here. In Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyanga Atma and Paragatma. As long as the soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called as Paragatma. But as soon as the soul, same soul becomes detached from sense enjoyment, it is called as Pratyag Atma. The soul is subjected to function of 10 kinds of air at work within the body, and this is perceived through breathing system. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs one on how to control the functions of the body's air in a technical manner so that ultimately all the functions of air within become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, Pratyagatma is the ultimate goal. This Pratyagatma is withdrawn from the activity in matter. The senses interact with sense objects like ear for hearing, eyes for seeing, for smelling, tongue for tasting, hand for touching, and all of them are just engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of prana volume. The apana value goes downwards, vyana value acts to shrink and expand, samana value adjusts equilibrium, udana value goes upwards. And one is enlightened and engages all this in searching for self-realization. So this is the interesting description. So the line prana karmini chapare is explained in this lines, the entire lines of Pratyagata to self-realization. So, and there are five types of hair system which is described here. That the pranavayu is our exhalation and inhalation. This gives energy to act. So the pranavayu is also a generic term used to describe the air system. For example, mind is a term which is used to describe multiple things. Mind is one of the subtle elements in the subtle body. So mind may sometimes also used to describe the subtle body. Same way, prana vayu can be referring the individual air system of prana of inhaling and exhaling or generic air system in the body of a human being. This system of vayu in the body is a sophisticated system. This is one of the ways to look at the body. There are different ways, say, for example, lymphatic system, circulatory system, skeletal system, muscular systems. Like that, we have in Ayurveda, Kapha, Vata, Pitta systems. The voice system form an important part of these systems. It is impossible to turn this air inwards by now, it is possible to turn these as inwards with practice of pranayama. In today's scenario, breathing exercises are told and practiced to overcome diseases. These exercises are to regulate the prana system and hence turn the focus inwards. Though the ultimate goal is to focus inwards and go to Krishna, but there are also some material benefits available, which is to overcome the material disease, which is like high BP, low BP, sugar, and so on. So this, the primary goal, however, is to turn ourselves inwards and go to Krishna. This will help us to overcome all the diseases. So let us go to sloka number 58. द्रव्य यज्ञ तपो यज्ञ योग यज्ञ तथापरे स्वाध्याय ज्ञान यज्ञश्च यतय संसित तथा. Having accepted strict course, some become enlightened by sacrificing the position. So this is Dravya Yajnas, and others by performing severe austerities. Tapo Yajna, by practicing of eightfold mysticism. This is Yoga Yajna, or by studying Swadhyaya, Jnana Yajnascha. Then Yataya Shashrita Vrata, by practicing or by studying Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. They become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions. They get enlightened. Who get enlightened? By the Vayagna, the Hoyagna, whoever does this sacrifice. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport is giving various examples. What is Dravyamaya Yagna? In other countries too, there are many hospitals, old age homes on a similar charitable foundation meant for distributing food, education and medical treatment free to poor. All these charitable activities are called as Dravyamaya Yagna. Dravyamaya Yagna means charities. So Srila Prabhupada is not calling this as mundane. He is not calling these charities as mundane. We should only chant Hare Krishna, no other activities. He is not telling that. Those who are giving charities, they are very great souls. Their activities are commendable. They are the principle of sacrifice. Some people may say that they are doing this for want of name and fame, trying to get name and fame in a way that is beneficial for others. This indicates that consciousness of person is situated in a higher mode. So Tapoyagna, Srila Prabhupada here talks about what is Tapoyagna. Tapoyagna means austerity. He's talking about severe rules conducting life under certain rigid rules. For example, the capital must before the candidate does not shave for 4 months during the year. It is due he does not eat such foods, does not eat twice in a day, or does not leave home. Sacrifice of comforts of life is called as Tapomaya Yajna. So there is a very interesting shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is saying that Dure Vari Ainam Tirtham Lavanyam Keshadarana Udaram Bharata Swartha Satyatve Drishtityam Evahi Akshyam Kudumba Bharana Kudumba Bharanam Yashodite Dharma Sevanam. A sacred place will be taken to consist of no more than reservoir of water located at a distance, and the duty will be thought to depend on one's aspect. Filling the belly will become goal of life, and one who is audacious will be accepted as truthful. He who can maintain a family will be regarded as an expert man, and the principle of religion will be observed only in sake of reputation. What is this? Here, for us, the most interesting thing is depend on one's aspect. So here, Prabhupada is telling that in Chaturmasya, we grow hair. We grow hair. Why we grow hair? Because we have to focus on we have to focus on austerity. So when we do austerity, it is necessary to ensure that we do not disturb the system by shaving. Okay. It disturbs the system. So during Ekadashi or any fasting days, we generally do not do the remove the hair. However, brahmacharis, because there is a tendency to get attached to simple thing like hair, which is very commonly found in Kali Yuga. This one is symptoms of Kali Yuga. This is taken from symptoms of Kali Yuga, the chapter symptoms of Kali Yuga. So we can say that we can see here that Lavanya Keshadara. People get attached uh, through one's hairstyle, the beauty. They consider hairstyle as beauty. So we will go here instead of developing this sense of renunciation, sense of austerity, we will get attached to it. But we see that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada, Gaur Kishore Das Namaji Maharaj, they were all sporting a beard in their photos. So, how we can understand this? So, these photos are not for sporting fancy hairstyle, but these were the photos which were taken by the devotees when these great souls were practicing Chaturmasya or during some austere condition. During Chaturmasya, the main focus is absolute truth and it is very intense. Need of the body are kept aside or body is not considered very important. So then there are still others who engage themselves in different type of mystic yogas like Patanjali or Hatha Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, and some travel to all sanctified places of pilgrimage. All these practices are called as yoga yajna, sacrifice for certain type of perfection in material world. Then there are others who engage themselves in study of different Vedic literature, specifically the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras of Sankhya philosophy. All of these are Swa-Adhyaya Yagna, or engagement in sacrifice of studies. All these yogis are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifice and are seeking higher status of life. Krishna consciousness, however, is different from these because it is direct service of Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by anyone of the above mentioned types of sacrifice, but can be obtained only by mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotees. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is transcendental. So, Prabhupada here is telling that we need to seek mercy of Lord and his bona fide devotees so that we can become strong in our understanding of the scriptures. We can go to different places, understand the Dharma very well. We can follow austerities. It is possible for us, and it is also possible for us to give up all our life for satisfaction of Krishna. The most important point is that these yajnas or sacrifices are done to achieve something higher status in the life. This point will be said by Krishna in later verses, but Srila Prabhupada is giving here in a here only. He's telling that all these yogis are taking higher status of life, seeking higher status of life. So we sacrifice something to go higher in status of life. That is the point. Let us go to the next shloka, shloka number 29. So what is it telling? Apane jwavati prana, prane apana tatapare, prana apana gati rudva, pranayama parayana, apare niyata ahara, pranan praneshu jyoti. What is the meaning? Still, the would implement the process of brief restraint to remain in chance. Practice by offering a movement of outgoing breath into the incoming and incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at the last remaining chance. Stopping all the breathing. Thus curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as sacrifices. So this verse is fundamentally referring to yoga. So if we see the so these are two major topics being told here. One is controlling the breath, and other one is restraining eating. So controlling the breath and restraining eating are the ways in which we give something into this body. So this one needs to be how we will be able to sacrifice this for turning ourselves inwards, turning our consciousness inwards. So let us go to the shloka again. Apane means apane. In the air which acts downwards. Apane. Draw the upper. Pranam, the air which acts outside. So prana means the air which acts outwards. Prana in the air going outward. Apano, apano, the air going downwards. So apane, you offer the downward moving air into outward moving air, and outward moving air into downward. Others prana of the air, apana, air going downward, gati movement, rudva, checking pranayama, induced with stopping all the breathing, parayana, so inclined. So what is he trying to do? Some others inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance. Practice by offering the movement of outgoing breath into incoming breath into outgoing, thus at last remaining in trance, stopping all breathing. So here we see there is a control of breathing. So the topics are now getting interesting. We will see about this shloka further in our next class. I will stop here. Thank you very much. Chakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhayascha paddanam pavnabhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि हरे कृष्णा थैंक यू वेरी मच